Okay, so the signing off of the 3D contracts. This is a new idea to a lot of people, okay? So when we're signing off the 3D contracts, it is because we've come in from the greater us, okay? And we've dropped down to the physical body, okay? We've chosen this body, we've chosen mum and dad, remember all of that? We've been wrapped in stuff on the third dimension. And we're actually bringing ourselves out of these wrappings at the moment. We're coming into that incarnation within an incarnation. Now, 3D contracts have been totally handy to us because what it did, it meant that the world would continue. If we didn't have this contractual arrangement to meet up with our buddies in the higher realms and play out these lifetime stories, the continuum of the 3D dimension wouldn't keep going, it would just stop. So every time someone drops in, we've got to have a vibrational story that we actually roll into the next and the next and the next of evolution. That's what it's about. So the third dimensional contract is an agreement. Okay, so it's not technically like this as such. However, this is what we visualize within the work that we do. So up in the higher realms, we make these agreements. They are etheric agreements. And they're saying, yes, I will be this, this, and this to you. Okay, not a problem. And so we live these stories and we have these great loves, or we have these great problems, like disease and genetic issues or disability passed down to keep the story going, because we go, okay, well, I was a free princess in the last life, now I'm wanting to learn humility in this life and things like that. So we actually create a vibrational story, and then we've actually got agreements that come in and tag into our script. Remember we talked about toilet roll unfolding, so we tag these soul contracts or people who are going to fulfill certain relational agreements. Okay, so it could be mum and dad to start off with, could be siblings, it could be lovers, okay, and they come in. And it's funny, I mean, over the period of, say, marriage or something like that, you could have had 3 more soul contracts come in with great attractions. We might choose this, or we might let it go and come into the next attraction, because it's actually further along. It's evolving us into the next part of our story. So what goes on is that it rolls us forward in evolution. But because we're actually waking up within an incarnation, what we're going to do is we don't want those soul contracts to drive us, because if it's been an abusive type relationship, but we've got this, I'm meant to be with this person, I know it, but I'm being abused, I can't get out of this thing. And it's because of the contract. So a contract is highly emotive, okay? And everything can feel triggered. It can sense like a twin flame type story. I've got such attraction. It is an immense attraction that can come from a soul contract. But it's in so many different forms that I can barely utter it. Children come to us as parents for a reason and live out what it is that their destiny is and what those agreements have been before they came in. So this happens, and then we live and go through what it is that we have to go through, or we think that we need it. So because we're in an incarnation within an incarnation right now, we are signing off soul contracts. That's really important to understand a soul contract, because what is happening is I drop down into the third dimensional body and I'm living a 3D experience governed by all of these things that are tagged into it. Now we don't have to actually be influenced, we can let it go. So on every single relationship now, okay, if you feel a strong connection to someone, I would always sign off and encourage the person to actually sign off the soul contract, because a 3D experience is not what we're wanting anymore. We want a 5D and above experience. So it's sort of like, what is that? Okay, well, a 3D experience keeps you living experience in 3D, whereas a free soul is multi-dimensional in being, is connected to their I am presence. Their soul is alive and active, and I'm a free will creator. That's the difference. So even though in the little me, with the third dimensional contracts, I am a free will creator, absolutely. But I'm not necessarily connected to my greater self, which is what this initiation process is all about. So we always recommend and teach you in this session, so we actually help you and assist you to sign off 3 soul contracts, and then after you, because there could be quite a number of them, we give you homework, okay, so that you can go off and do the rest. So how you do it, we're going to do 3. We always recommend first up is that we're doing mum and dad first, because they're the goodies that you are made up of. Okay, then you might do siblings, you might do ex-lovers, partners, husbands, things like that. Okay, it might be an abuser, okay, somebody that you've suffered at the hand of. Often they can be soul contracts. Now I want to just share here right now, many people mistake their relationships and their issues within their relationships as, you know, it's my twin flame and he's giving me a hard time. Not necessarily, because so many people actually find a relationship on Tinder, it's not even got any sense of soul governance in it. Okay, it's like, no, I just met someone on Tinder. It's got nothing to do with me. It's got nothing to do with my time and space. I've just been a bit of a prat, you know. And so there's a lot of prat relationships happening on the planet. And so you would actually have to look at it and say, really? And if there's no contract that comes down, then there's no contractual relationship. It's just been a poor decision. So always remember that with your guidance, okay, as practitioners, that if you're going to actually do this, you've got to get to the point of explaining it and teaching it properly. Their own intuition will feel into what they've got to do next. The souls come willingly. I want you to remember that. The souls who are involved with us in a soul contract wants the story to end, okay? And they will actually rush to you, sort of like one after the other, they'll all just come in like that. It's crazy, because they're wanting it to finish. They know it's not real. They go, I want to be finished of being earthbound, okay? And this is where we've got all of these wounded earthbound souls that are out in country, that are in the cities, that are, you know, in institutions. They're earthbound, whether we call them spirits, ghosts, whatever, we don't mind what you call them. They're earthbound, okay, because of story contracts, of vibrational stories that are holding them back from continuing on. And we love them because we love them, or we can't stand them but we keep hating them, okay, if they're an abuser of some sort. And of course we're keeping them here. They've got to continue hounding us or being a part of our relationship or triggers or whatever, because they're still on a plane, okay? So what we're doing in releasing a contract is we're releasing the soul from the wrapping. So when I was when I realised that my daughter was being wrapped in my generational weakness, and my nana struggled with being empowered because she didn't follow through what she felt she should do in life. And then my mother took the brunt of that on her, okay, and she goes, just want you to learn love, Mum, but she couldn't. And my mum had, you know, nervous issues and things like that. This was passed on to me, who was wrapped in it. So we've been wrapping, and then I was passing it on to Ashley, and it was very bizarre because I actually had knowledge come through that says you must protect her from weakness. And I didn't even know what it was about. And so here all my life I've been actually coaching Ashley to weakness when I could have actually gone, not doing this. And so poor old Ash had it passed on to her because I was actually trying to protect her from this thing. It was contractual. So signing off the contracts, the last thing you want is wrapping your child with pain of any sort. It was like, let it go. And so when you sign something off, what it does is, like, the soul just goes boom, in that other person. If they're on this plane, it's like, phew, they become their board of directors. They become who they are in light. They haven't got any vibrational stories limiting them and in restricting them. Isn't that interesting? And so the love, the great love that we have for them, we've actually been able to let them go into light, and then we can both make decisions, because I've released myself from that story contract. That's what we're wanting. So we release ourselves from the contract with that person, but we're also simultaneously releasing them into their own I amness. Okay, they become a quantum being. true relationships take place instead of this strange arrangement that we have on this plane through a contract. Okay, so it's just practice, good practice for diamond practitioners to actually help to sign off 3 contracts so that we're absolutely demonstrating, it becomes very real to them. Okay, that's how, and what we do is just to do it, to explain how to actually do it. The soul, we call that person's soul to us. Now, the interesting part is, instead of it just being little pointy me to little pointy them, okay, we're bringing in the greater them to the greater you. So this is a place where we do all of our work when we're asleep or whatever. We're in the after realms doing this from a multidimensional space. Here, okay, so I've got no pain here. Remember, I've got no issue. When I'm aligned with soul, I actually have no issue because I'm one with light. I already know it all. It's no problem. I've only got restriction when I'm in my 3D self. So from here, I bring that soul to me and I say, you know what? Even though I've been living with you, Bob, my husband, you've been driving me batty for all these years, I'm not going to keep this contract up anymore. I'm ready to just release you. And I want to be released as well. So I'm going to sign off the soul contract, and you bring in the contract down between the 2 of you. Go, I'm signing off the 3rd dimensional contract and story that has been between us. And then you put a flame, okay, a violet flame or a flame, and see it burn like paper all the way up through to the 5th dimension and above, okay, and you'll feel it. Have you ever done burning as a clearing? It's the most incredible energy. You feel the fire go through you, and that is soul fire. The soul actually is purifying that creation. And the agreement finishes. Funny enough, they often call you. Isn't that interesting? They often, I was just thinking about you, or might even call you. Okay, so there's all these interesting things happen, especially with estranged relationships. Okay, so expect those types of things to happen. But it's no big deal. Okay, they're just feeling, oh, I've never felt that before. Just thinking about you. It's because you did and were intending this action. Sign off the contract. Okay, so we're going to do 3. Like I said, we recommend doing mum and dad first. Okay, and then whoever it is that comes to mind. Because it's practitioner healing, practitioner training, we'll go with the next one that comes to mind, okay? So we're going to sign off the videos for the moment.